دامن آلوده با بار گناه آوردم، دامن آلوده و بار گناه آوردم. گرچه آهی در بساطم نیست آه آوردم. هر که بودم هر که هستم بر کسی مربوط نیست، بر امام مهربان خود پناه آوردم. هر که بودم هر که هستم بر کسی مربوط نیست، بر امام مهربان خود پناه آوردم. هر که آورد تحفه‌ای در محضر مولای خود، من دو دست خالی و کوه گناه آوردم. در کرم شهر را گدا باید، گدا را نیست شاه، من گدا دست گدایی سوی شاه آوردم. بر کبوترهای صحنت هدیه ناقابلی است، گندم اشکی که در این بارگاه آوردم. ناله‌ام در سینه، اشکم در بصر، سوزم به دل، نامه‌ای چون دود آه خود سیاه آوردم. ذره بودم زائر شمس الشموسم کردند، قطره‌ای بودم به این دریا پناه آوردم. گرچه هستم قطره‌ای ناچیز، یک دریای اشک هدیه بر مولای خود روحی فدا آوردم. هر فقیری هست دست خالیش سرمایه اش، من فقیرم دست خالی را گواه آوردم. میسما مولا اگر پرسید چه آوردی بگو، سر به خاک زائرانت از گرد راه آوردم. سقا خونه امام رضا، میخانه مستان خدا. سقا خونه امام رضا، میخانه مستان خدا. سلطان کریم امام رضا، رحمان و رحیم امام رضا. تو رو زهرا جونمو بگیر اما منو کربلا ببر. تو رو زهرا جونمو بگیر اما منو کربلا ببر. جای دوری نمیره آقا تو آبرو بخر. جای دوری نمیره آقا تو آبرو بخر. سلطان کریم امام رضا، رحمان و رحیم امام رضا. السلام علیک یا اهل بیت النبوة، ذکرکم فی الذاکرین، اسماکم فی الاسماء، ارواحکم فی الارواح. اللهم صل علی فاطمه و ابیها و بعلها و بنیها و سر المستودع فیها بعدد ما احاط به علمک. صلوات بر محمد.
Thank you, Brother Said. Inshallah, before I invite Sheikh Amin, I just wanted to extend the thanks on behalf of our community to Sheikh Amin for coming for these 3 days in the middle of the week and accepting the invitation to come to Austin. Inshallah, we have an opportunity to have you back soon. So without further ado, if we can all move towards the front as much as possible while keeping social distance, and invite Sheikh Amin to the member with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين، واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم أجمعين. My condolences on the Shahadat of Imam Ali ibn Musa Rida alayhi salam. In these nights, as we get closer and closer to the end of the Muharram and Safar season, the season of mourning, you think more and more about, okay, we have spent all of this time remembering Abu Abdullah alayhi salam and the other Ahlul Bayt whose Shahadat were in these nights and in these 2 months. And so in the end, we have to understand that all of this is so that the teachings of Islam are preserved, so that we can embody the teachings of Islam within us. Last night we had that hadith by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam where he spoke about what the expectations are for a muhib and lover of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. A lover of Ahlul Bayt will stand out. You can identify them through their ibadah, through other things. Muslim bin Awsaja, how was he identified? By that spy of Ubaidullah bin Ziyad. How were they able to identify Muslim bin Awsaja, who was close to Muslim bin Aqil? They were looking for Muslim bin Aqil, correct? How were they able to identify Muslim as one of the companions, or excuse me, Muslim bin Awsaja as one of the companions of Muslim bin Aqil? How? They noticed that he's doing the most ibadah in the masjid. And they said this one must have some ties with brothers and sisters. As Shia, we need to stand out because of our relationship with the Quran, because of our ibadah, because of our tawheed and all of that. There's so much to say in this regard, but we don't have time for it. So those were expectations. I'm a muhib of Ahlul Bayt. I love Ahlul Bayt. Oh, that's wonderful. Let me see what you got. Let me see how's that affecting your life. I mean, Rasulullah is telling us there's expectations, or else the love is there, inshallah. And as I said last night, inshallah, it will help us whenever we need it. Oh man, but that love can do so much more as well. Tonight, what we want to do, I want to go to one of the hadiths of Imam Rida alayhi salam. If Imam Hussein did what he did, is to preserve these teachings from ensuing Imams, like Imam Rida alayhi salam, which Imam Rida is very special, by the way. Imam Rida is very special. I'll say this much, that the Imams that came after Imam al-Rida, they were all referred to as Ibn al-Rida. Oh, this is Ibn al-Rida, Imam al-Hadi. Ibn al-Rida, Imam al-Askari. Yeah, Imam al-Jawad, of course, Ibn al-Rida. Because he was one of those turning points. He was very important, to the extent that our scholars will talk about how Imam al-Rida, his journey to Tus, and from Medina all the way to Tus and Khurasan, is kind of similar to Imam Hussein's journey from Medina to Karbala, in the sense that these journeys both secured Islam. Yeah. And so today we are here speaking, reflecting, and learning from these teachings. One of those important teachings I want to share with you tonight also will have to do with 10 things Imam al-Rida has mentioned. Now, it is very interesting the wording that the Imam uses when he is delivering this hadith to us. The wording isn't like last night, where if you want to see if you're a muhib, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what we have here is a little different and very interesting. It always stands out to me when the Imams use this kind of wording. It begins like this: لا يتم عقل امرئ إلا or حتى تكون فيه 10 خصال. That the aql and intellect of an individual is not complete until these 10 things we see it in them. Okay. So here we're going to talk about, these are going to be dispositions. These are going to be, as they say, malakat. They're going to be mindsets that a person has, outlooks that a person has, perspectives that a person has. If you have got it right and figured it out, the Imam says, if you figured it out, you understand properly akhirah versus dunya, which one's more important, how it works, what contributes to what takes away from the other. If you've understood these things properly, we will see at least some of these 10 within you. Or else it just shows you haven't gotten it right. He didn't say if you're a good person, these 10 are going to be in you. No, if you understood. Now, what I like about Islam personally, and a lot of scholars have said this too, it's beautiful, that in Islam, intellect doesn't just mean, oh, I have the capacity to have some philosophical endeavors. Okay, I can figure things out intellectually. You've all heard the hadith that they came to Imam Ali, they said, Muawiyah is so smart. He said, don't say he's smart, he's something else. Smart, aqil. A person who is one of those who are ahja, is the one whose actions are not in conflict with what they believe in, but rather they are in line with what they believe in. In other words, they act upon what they know. If you have knowledge, but you don't act on it, sorry, that's not knowledge. That's just a burden that you're carrying. مثل الذين حملوا التوراة ثم لم يحملوها كمثل الحمار يحمل أسفارا. Right? The Quran here, it says, look, there are some people who carry knowledge, but they're just like that vessel. Back then there was no Ford trucks, okay? So they used donkeys. Some people think that this verse might be like speaking in a derogatory way to the people. No, it's saying, look, how does it, when you put the most valuable, precious books on the back of a donkey or a Ford F-150, okay? For those of you who want to say Islam, extends till today and we have application of everything till today. All right, the donkey is like a truck. When you put that knowledge on the truck, is that knowledge for the truck or is it just weight on the truck? The truck doesn't understand. The donkey doesn't understand what this is. For this donkey, let me give you another example. If I put 100 pounds of gold, mashallah, I've been saving up, you know what I'm saying? 100 pounds of gold on a donkey, and I put 100 pounds of stone on a donkey is going to look at me the same way, like, bro, what's up, man? Why are you putting so much on me? Oh, this is very this is valuable. You don't understand. This donkey, he doesn't have aql. Yeah. And so the Quran, the hadith, this is a culture that we find. Aql, knowledge, ilm, all of these things will be considered those things actually when they are contributing to a person's growth towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or else it's just a burden. And so the Imam, he says, no, don't call him smart. He's something else. So here the Imam, when we look into these 10 things, we're like, wow, look at that. A lot of it has to do with philosophy? No. Theology? No. It has to do with action. Yeah. Action. Because that is, when your actions are proper, that shows that you've figured it out properly. La yatimmu aqlu mri'in Muslim. He says a proper Muslim, this is how their aql, you can tell it's complete. Until they have 10 things. What are those 10 things? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Al-khayru minhu ma'amul. Number 1. Khair and goodness is something that you have hopes in that person to come from them. You know, there's just some people when you hear their name, the first thing that might come to your mind, or one of the first things that comes to your mind automatically is what? This person is a righteous individual. What I can expect from them is khair to come to me. Yeah. Who else is like this? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah. Other than a few attributes of God and qualities of God, we are trying to at least have the same genre of attributes of God. Generosity, things like that. Okay? Knowledge, strength, courage, these kinds of things, they all fall in line. They're on that same wavelength with Allah's attributes. Yes. Imam Ali Nahj al-Balaghi, he makes it clear. There are two attributes of God no one's supposed to touch. Al-Kibriya wal-Azama, that Shaitan tried to do, tried to get close to, and that's why he got burned. Those are for Allah only. Greatness, Azama, that's for Allah. That's reserved for Him. Other than that, though, this is something that Urafa, scholars, everyone's talking about. Yeah, we're trying our best to gain a little bit of what Allah has. All right, Allah is like that. What do we recite in Dua of Rajab? Ya man arjuhu li kulli khair. Oh, the one who, when it comes to Him, all khair, I have hope in all khair coming from Him, that entity, that person. Allah's like that. And so a person who has got it right, understood what they're supposed to do in this life, the first thing is that this is an individual that al-khayru minhu ma'mul. Obviously, number two, if people are supposed to have hope of khair from a person, then that person better be careful that there's no shar also, that there's no possibility of shar coming from them. And so this brings us to the second quality of these individuals, a person who's figured it out, who's not going to destroy their akhirah. You know who destroys their akhirah? The one who others look at them and they like, oh my God, let's just be careful because al-sharru minhu ghayru ma'mun. The Imam is using nice words here. Al-khayru minhu ma'mul comes from amal, hope. There's hopes of good coming from that person. But then there's some people, they do good, but they also mix it up with bad. La tubtilu a'malakum, la tubtilu sadaqatikum bil manni wal adha. The Quran says, look, you do something good, don't render it void with something bad that you do after it. You help somebody out, right? The Quran says this, la tubtilu sadaqatikum. Don't render them void, the sadaqat and the charity you give to people, bil manni wal adha, by bothering them later about it. Acting like, you did something special to them afterwards. Every time you see the guy, you're like, yo, I'm the one who, I'm the one who helped you out, remember? Things like that. You give and you go. Ash-sharru minhu ma'mun means that, look, if you got the khair part down, we got to make sure that the shar is at a minimum and inshallah just absent completely. Ash-sharru minhu ma'mun. Ma'mun comes from amn and aman, means safety. I feel safe. Brothers and sisters, I say this everywhere. Don't be the one who everyone looks at as the problem of the community or the center or whatever. Let's not be that person. Let me tell you a cute story, okay? One time I was lecturing, and it's the center I was at a lot, and I know the people, and I know the brothers, like some of them, they're very emotional, and they are a problem sometimes. I mean, I'm even scared of them. And so I said this once. I noticed that, the brother is there. And I felt that it's necessary for me to make this point that brothers, sisters, let's be careful. Like, we're doing all of this work in the centers. Let's not break each other's hearts. Let's not let others feel unsafe when it comes to us. Oh my God, I slipped up in front of this guy. I don't know what's going to happen next. I'm just waiting for those WhatsApp messages, the one that says forward many times. All right. Sometimes you forward something and sometimes you forward it many times, or you receive it, it says forwarded. And then some of them says forwarded many times. Okay, you're just like, oh my God, this is gonna go around now. Why? Because this person sharru minhu is not. This person is not ash-sharru minhu ma'mun. As I was explaining this, I don't think it was this hadith. It was something else. Like, people, don't be that person that the whole community looks at like this. And I had one person in mind. Fast forward to the end of the program, They line up, they shake the Sheikh's hand, and they're saying salam. And so the brother also comes. He whispers in my ear. He's like, "Ahsant Maulana, good job. These people have to hear this." I'm like, Habibi, this is all for you. This was a custom delivered, like this was for you only. I delivered the package at your door. I even took a picture for later. If you say I haven't delivered it, I delivered this to you. You're telling me good job. They need to hear this. Like, this is very scary. And when you don't know that you don't know. Anyway, it starts at a younger age, brothers and sisters, to work on ourselves, to be the one that everyone feels safe around us. They don't have to be worried that shar is going to come their way from me. You know who's like that? The opposite of Allah, shaitan. That's characteristic number 2 of these people who have figured it out. Number 3, I like this one a lot. يَسْتَكْفِرُ قَلِيلَ الْخَيْرِ مِنْ غَيْرِهِ. Yastakfiru means they consider it abundant. They consider it a lot. Consider what a lot? The khair that others do. Someone might do the smallest thing, but this person, the way they receive it, the way they deal with it, you feel like this person feels like this guy did the best thing in the world for them. And this is due to their humility. Once again, due to how they have understood things properly, to the point that khair for them is khair. Khair is khair. And so I will acknowledge khair. There are, once again, let's not be the one who everyone feels like they're never good enough for us. That's not how the Prophet was, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No, he would acknowledge khair. I'll give you another story. Those of you who know Qom and the streets of Qom, the famous street of Safar. Okay, I don't know if any of you been. I was walking down that street, and I noticed one of these big scholars walking my way. Now, big scholar in the sense of he's on national TV, everyone watches him, and millions of people watch him. But like no one's around him, and he's passing by. So I was like, you know what? I'll just say salam to him. As he's passing by, Assalamu alaikum, as I was passing, and I just kept going. And he's gonna probably say wa alaikum assalam, and we might not even make eye contact, Oh my God, like that was not the case. As I was passing, Salamun alaikum, he stopped in his tracks, turned completely towards me, wa alaikum assalam. Like, whoa, I'm like looking over my shoulder. Is he talking to me? What's going on here? He made me feel like the most special person in the world because of a salam that I gave him. And then here we are. Sometimes, inshallah, we're not like this. That no, so-and-so has to say salam to me first. He made me feel like I had done something great. Yastakfiru qalil al-khair min ghayrihi, from others. Anyone else who does khair, mashallah. And this is also, I would say, an attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That the little bit that we do, look at what He does. I mean, we have stories for this one too. I'm telling a lot of stories tonight, but I think it's good, beneficial. That there was a youth that was dying, and as he's dying, he said they bring the Prophet next to him because they're like, this kid is like suffering. What's going on? The Prophet comes, finds out that the mom is not happy with the son. And so the Prophet really intercedes. And he's telling the mom, now's not the time to be upset with him, and so on. And anyway, the mom says, okay, because of you, O Prophet, I forgive him for whatever he's done. Brothers and sisters, on the side, parentheses, man. Let me open a parentheses here. Parents, man. Parents. No matter what, I disagree with them, that's fine. Respect. But they're wrong. Well, if they were right, it wouldn't be a test, okay? My mom told me to play 6 hours of video games, and I just disagreed. That's not a test. Or, Maulana, I've been a good kid today. Why? 6 hours of video games, she told me, and I played those 6 hours? MashaAllah. It's when they're wrong, quote unquote, and that's in your eyes, not always the case that they're not going to be wrong. It's when you don't agree, or when you feel like it's not reasonable, which Allah's watching. All right, are you going to keep the respect or not? That's the... Even if you close your mouth, you don't say anything, and you're like, you know what, I have to keep their respect. And as you go out, you slam the door. Habibi, that's not how it works either. No, if you want to leave, you leave in a respectful way, in a way that it doesn't hurt them. But that's hard, Molana. Well, that's how we grow. No one's going to grow eating donuts. All right. No one's going to get fit eating ice cream and donuts. It takes work. All right. So the Prophet tells this kid, okay, your mom has forgiven you and all of that. Recite this. Ya man yaqbalul yasir. Oh, the one who accepts the little bit. Wa ya'fu anil kathir. And forgives the great sins that we do. Iqbal min al yasir. Accept from me the little bit that I have. Wa'fu anil kathir. And the great sins of mine. Oh Allah, forgive them. So this youth is repeating this dua now. And so in the beginning, he said, I'm seeing like these monsters coming toward me. Now he says those monsters are gone and I see something else coming. A beautiful individual is coming my way. Anyway, he passed away in a good way. The point I'm trying to make here is, other than the parent point that I made, is that look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like this. Yaqbalul yasir. Allah accepts the little bit that we give him. Really, we give him a little bit. It's out of him, out of his greatness, that he gives us Jannah. 60 years of my life, 70 years of my life, I dedicate to Allah. And that doesn't mean 24/7 I'm doing ibadah. That means 15 minutes a day, right? Now, some people are more talented and more professional. They do it like 5 prayers in like 10 minutes if you add it all up. Some who are less professional like myself, maybe 20 minutes, yeah, of prayer throughout the day. That's our dedication. Ramadan, other things that we do for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah. It's not easy, but I mean, it's not like it's taking up all of our time. I always tell kids this. How many minutes do we have in a day? 1,440 minutes per day. Allah's like, hey, give me 20 minutes of this for your salat, man, throughout the day. That's not too much to ask for. Anyway, this little bit we're giving him, he's promising us eternity and infinity. Come on, like what more could we ask for? It's just like, do I stick to the now or do I invest into the later and have a normal good time now as well? It's fine. Which one am I going to choose? La yatimmu aqlu mri'in. We got to be aqil, brothers and sisters, when it comes to this balance that we have to have in life. All right. You can probably guess number 4 now. يَسْتَكْثِرُ قَلِيلَ الْخَيْرِ مِنْ غَيْرِهِ يَسْتَقِلُّ كَثِيرَ الْخَيْرِ مِنْ نَفْسِهِ. There is one time, one place, one case that our scholars will say it is okay to be selfish, greedy. Now, I don't like to use those words because they're negative words. But to feel like it's never enough. I've never had enough. And that's what, when it comes to building your akhirah. And so these individuals, the khair of others is a lot for them because that has nothing to do with them. But for me, everyone in the world tells me, oh my God, mashallah, you're the best. You've done the most righteous deeds and all that kind of stuff. It's not enough for me. Because why? Because the sky is the limit. This is what we learn from Ahlul Bayt. Imam al-Hasan, as he's passing away, he's weeping. Why are you weeping? You've done Hajj 25 times, given your wealth 2-3 times in the way of Allah, etc., etc. Like these individuals know there's still room for more. There's still room for more. Our ulama were like that too. We want the higher levels of Jannah. I just want to give you one example for this one as well, which is mind-blowing. Every time I remember this, I get goosebumps. Allama Tabatabai, to whom the Shia today owe a lot, even those who might not like him. I don't know why they don't like him. But there's some people out there just jahil. But I would say 95% of the Muslimin, the Shia out there, they acknowledge what he's done for Tashayyu' today. And the students he's left behind, one of which passed away recently, Ayatollah Hassan Zada Amuli. All right, we talked about him the first night. Anyway, this Allama Tabatabai, what is he known for? Tafsir of Al-Mizan, correct? Tafsir of Al-Mizan is an encyclopedia. It is something else, brothers and sisters. All right. How much he's benefited the Muslims, forget the Shia only, the Muslims with his tafsir. I usually don't tell these stories of dreams, but this one I've seen it again and again and again from reliable places. I'll share it with you. Someone comes, the father of Allama Tabatabai comes to the dream of maybe one of his students it was, or one of the people that knows him. He says, I'm upset with my son, Allama Tabatabai. Why? He didn't share any of the thawab, the thawab of Al-Mizan for me who is in the grave right now. So all of a sudden, here we are, raising our eyebrows. What? And so they told this to Allama Tabatabai. What was his answer? You know what his answer was? His answer showed that this number 4 really applies to him. يَسْتَقِلُّ كَثِيرَ الْخَيْرِ مِنْ نَفْسِهِ. He considers the great khair that he's done as nothing, as little, not enough. What was his answer? He said, oh, really? My father's upset? Well, why didn't you give him sawab of that al-mizan? Some of it at least. He says, because I never even thought there's a sawab for this. Mind blown. Talking about myself. Really? Take that and compare it to this day and age. Someone copy and pastes a hadith on their Instagram, right? And they're like, man, I just changed the whole world with this. Let me see how many likes we got. Because it's all about the likes. Our ulama will laugh at this understanding of Islam. Yes, media and social media is a good platform, of course, and a medium to use to get the haqq out there. I'm not talking about that. Some of us, it just come down to likes. Brothers and sisters, it doesn't matter. Like you got 100,000 likes, they ain't gonna give you no lollipop in the akhirah for that. If it's all about only likes, all right? Anyway, this person wrote 20 volumes of Al-Mizan. He really honestly doesn't think that it has that much thawab for him to even give it to. All right, if that's the case, let me send it for my father. No problem. يَسْتَقِلُّ كَثِيرَ الْخَيْرِ مِنْ نَفْسِهِ. Number 5, لا يسأم من طلب الحوائج إليه. This person never gets tired when people are coming to his or her door for help for things. This is a tough one now. I mean, it keeps getting tougher, by the way. But this is a state of mind that a person has, right? LeBron was walking out of one of these games once. They asked him, are you tired? He says, nah, I ain't tired. Tired is in the mind, right? He has a goal. He's focused. In other words, he's figured it out for himself. And he's not going to get tired moving towards that destination because he sees he's moving towards it. Same thing here now, but with the akhirah. They have understood how great it is to serve mankind, serve the Muslimin. And so what do? They don't get tired. Now, it doesn't say they don't get tired in fulfilling people's needs. It says they don't get tired of people knocking on their door, asking them for help. Sometimes you can't even fulfill that person's needs. The Prophet ﷺ is the best example for this. There were times where people would come and they would ask for help, but he would still take them in with open arms and a smile. That's as much as I can give you. Yeah? But that's what I will give you. I won't make you feel bad so that next time you think twice before coming to my door, because this person has understood the importance of helping others. I have seen this in our greats. They talk about it. They say, look, first take care of your wajibat and your harams. Observe those properly. Add salatul layl, inshallah, if you really want to grow. After that, al-khidma ila al-khalq. To help the people, those who have needs, help them out. That's like at the top of their list. Now, each person will have their way of helping. Yeah? This person will not get tired when it comes to the people asking them for help. لا يمل من طلب العلم طول دهره. Number 6. This one's a nice one as well. This person is not a scholar necessarily. Every Muslim, what did the hadith start with? عقل امرئ مسلم. We're not talking about scholars here. It says this individual never gets tired and grows tired of pursuing knowledge throughout their life. Ayatollah Jawadi, he always says this. He says, we never graduate from, now he's talking about Hawza students. We never graduate from the Hawza. There's always more to learn. Let me tell you my own story. I went a long time ago and I was coming back in 2017. Half my life I've been there. I'm like, when I was coming back, I was like, man, I just feel like I just started. I'm not trying to be humble or anything like that, by the way. All right? No. Just sharing with you a personal experience. Like there's so much to learn. I'm pretty sure Sheikh also has the same feeling. There's just so much to learn. Like, what am I doing going back? I feel like I'm still in first grade. Now that's for a Hawza student, of course. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this, that these scholars are teaching us when it comes to the knowledge of the deen, there's no graduation for a scholar. The Imam is telling me that this person will never get tired of learning more and more about the deen. Now, some people will say, ilm here means no any knowledge. No, brothers and sisters, I don't have time to get into it. In this context, talabul ilm for every Muslim means ilm of the deen. So all of us, right? Even you younger ones, you want to play your video games, that's fine, because I played a lot of video games when I was a kid. And I'm still up here, you know what I'm saying? So as long as you're not doing something haram, but keep a balance at the same time, right? We got a lot to do. We got to sleep like 8 hours a day, maybe, most probably. I got 8 hours of work or school that I got to do. I got time to spend with my family. I got to do this. I got to do that. How much am I left with? All right. I'm left with 3 hours a day. You want to play 2 hours video games? Spend 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes reading. Why not? 15, 20 minutes a day. Multiply that by 365 days a year. That's a lot you can learn about Islam. And mashallah, we have access to a lot of knowledge today. There are no excuses. Ayatollah Jawadi says this as well. He says that barakah and God's blessing right now is just all over the place. It's all over the place. People have to just pick it up now. It's just so easy. Back in the day, it was so hard to get access to a fraction of what people have access to today. But it's just interesting, isn't it? The more access we have, the less knowledge we have. What's going on? I don't know how things work in this dunya. Yeah? It's all about oxymorons. The hadith tells you the more you chase it, the more it runs away from you. The more you don't chase it, it comes after you dunya. The more accessibility you have, the less knowledge you have. The more accessibility you have, the less knowledge, and then vice versa. You look at the ulama of the past, a person by the name of Sheikh al-Ansari, he's known for not having too many books, but then he writes a book using whatever he has, yeah? And his book till today is studied in the hawzat. لا يمل من طلب العلم طول دهره. Next one. الفقر في الله أحب إليه من الغنى. They figured it out. And so for them, not poverty per se. Poverty, if they have no choice in the way of Allah, is more beloved to them than wealth. Let's explain this a little bit. Look, poverty comes, usually the deen goes out the other way. We have hadith for this as well. And so, and I've never seen a scholar to say to pray for faqr, poverty. All right. Now, there are some urafa that have reached a certain level. That's a different story. Inshallah, when I'm in arif, then I'll look into that. I ain't no arif right now. All right. For us, brothers and sisters, poverty, we're not supposed to have that in our lives. All right. The imams were never poor. Yes, they would use less, but you can never call them poor. It's a negative thing. And so, but poverty, if I have to choose between wealth and poverty, while I know the satisfaction of Allah is with the poverty right now, because if I want the wealth, it comes through haram means, then yeah. I'll give you one example. One of these ulama, he told us a story once. He said that during the Shah's time, like the father Shah, Reza Shah, they call him the bully. He was a proper dictator. And so in his time, they were recruiting qudat, judges, Islamic judges. And so you can't work for a dhalim government like that though, or a dhalim dictator like that. So what were they offering though? He said in that time they were offering, this is way back by the way, 300 tumans a month. 300 tumans a month, while our stipend as Hawza students was 3 tumans a month. That's 100 times more. So think about it. I mean, that's crazy, man. Like $1,000 if I'm making a month, multiply that by 100. That's a lot. Someone's gonna make 100 times more than I am. Wow. He says there were some who went. But if I don't go, I'm gonna be poor. But this is poverty in the way of Allah, though. So that clause, if it's there, yeah, I'll choose it. This person, why? He's figured it out. Going back to the beginning of the hadith, they figured it out. Okay, 50, 60 years of poverty is worth it. If it's going to be eternity of wealth, I'm not going to switch them up. But you have the flip side as well, that some people do switch it up. All right. Al-faqru fillah ahab. It didn't say al-faqru ahabbu ilayh. It said al-faqru fillah ahabbu ilayh. They've got it right. They know what the measuring stick is. All right, what else we got? Al-dhullu fillah ahabbu ilayhi min al-izz. This person, for them even, if they are belittled, but this belittling, this zillat, is accompanied with Allah's satisfaction. Oh, they're going to make fun of me in school because what? I mean, I got hijab. I pray. I do this. I'm fasting. But this is in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a form of zillat, but it's not really zillat. We all know it's izzah because izzah is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, correct? But at face value, it's a form of, even Ashura, Ubaydullah bin Ziyad, he was really gloating. He was proud. Did you see how we belittled you? How we were victorious? Well, yeah, in your eyes, that's the case. But we accepted that in the way of Allah, and because of that, Allah will give us izzah. This is also a person who's figured it out. Why? Because they go to the Quran. The Quran says, فَإِنَّ لِلَّهِ الْعِزَّةُ جَمِيعًا. All izzah belongs to Allah. So this person's like, okay, there's a temporary thing here of izzah for me, but it might end up in eternal dhillah. I don't want that. So I will buy this for myself. I will accept this, embrace this temporary belittling for eternal honor and izzah. The last two, this one really applies to us. وَالْخُمُولُ أَشْهَى إِلَيْهِ مِنَ الشُّهْرَةِ. Being known, lack of fame for them is more beloved, more pleasurable than being known. Ayatollah Bahjat would walk through the streets. If no one was around him, he was happier than 100 people around him. Let's talk about social media age. Let's talk about TikTok. Talk about IG. Let's talk about these things. It is the exact opposite. So, one of these scholars pointed this out once. I really appreciated it. He said, look, social media is not neutral. Even when I'm using it for good benefit, but for good reasons, still, I got to be on my tippy toes. I got to be careful for it to not overtake me and all of a sudden change my standards. Right? For me, all of a sudden, you got to dig deep sometimes. You can tell it's there. Yeah, I want that little bit of fame and once again, we're going back to the likes and stuff that we were talking about before. This individual who's figured it out, he's like, I don't care if the whole world knows me. Once again, ain't going to be a lollipop in the akhirah for me, right? Not being known, as a matter of fact, is better for me. Yes, sometimes it's a wazifa. It's your duty to get known. You have to get something out there. That's a different story. Of course, there are exceptions to these rules. But all in all, yeah, this is the rule. Our scholars were running away from fame and all that, to the point that when there's like 5 or 6 other maraji', one of them passes away, now we have 4 or 5 left, and they come to the next one, they're like, now it's your turn to become marja'. We want to add you to the list. Says, there's already 4 or 5. Don't worry about it. Like, I don't need to. No, we need you and all that. No, because he knows with that will come me being recognized. And with that, I can spend less time with Allah and talking to Allah. Why? Because there's so much going on around me. This is the person who's figured it out, though. La yatimmu aqlu imri'in muslim. And finally, the hardest one of them all, right? Mirror, mirror on the wall. Which one is that? La yara ahadan illa qala huwa khayrun minni wa atqa. This one, let's just let's just stick to the first 9, okay? Imam Rada, cut us some slack here. That this person does not see anyone else except that they tell themselves this, that this person is better than me and more pious than I am. Now everyone's looking at me first because they're like, you're sitting up there, you think you're better than us? No, I just want you guys to be able to see me, inshallah. No, it doesn't matter. Turban, no turban, this, that, it doesn't matter. Here, the Imam is making it clear. It has to do with one thing, and that is, if someone is other than me, someone else out there, when I see them, of course, a Muslim, a mu'min, sometimes they're doing haram in front of me. It might be a different story, but all in all, this is the rule. This is the default in my mind, that when I see people, yeah, in my subconscious, this is what's echoing. That, yeah, this person is probably better than me and more pious than me. And then the Imam explains why this is the case, of how the shar of a person might be apparent, and then their khair is, and all that stuff. I don't want to get into that. What we wanted to get out of this hadith tonight from Imam al-Rida alayhi salam is that, okay, if we want to have proper aql according to their dictionary, according to their books, it's not just going to be that I am a philosopher, I am a scholar. You can be a scholar, but if you're not acting to the point that these are going to be the dispositions that you have, these will be the perspectives that you have, then there's still work to do. There's still work to do. It shows that you haven't really figured things out yet, or else you would look differently. Khair would be more ma'mul from you. Shar would be more ma'moon from you. All the way till the end. Inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through the right of the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, gives us tawfiq to at least have a little bit of what the Ahlul Bayt had expectations of us. Inshallah. Assalamu alayka ya Ali ibn Musa al-Rida. اللهم صل على علي بن موسى الرضا المرتضى الإمام التقي النقي وحجتك على من فوق الأرض ومن تحت الثرى الصديق الشهيد صلاة كثيرة تامة زاكية متواصلة متواترة مترادفة كأفضل ما صليت على أحد من أوليائك. As I said, Al-Imam al-Rida is very special, very special. What's happening in his shrine right now, God knows. Thousands and thousands in and out, gathering to show their love and respect to the holy Imam who becomes Shaheed on a night like this. God knows how many lives Imam al-Rida has touched, brothers and sisters. God knows. To the point that the likes of Allama Tabatabai, he says, when you enter his haram, he is Al-Imam al-Ra'uf, the kind, merciful Imam. What do you mean? Do you mean other Imams are not kind? They're not Ra'uf? No, he says, it's just when you walk in there, you just sense it differently. Al-Imam al-Ra'uf. And so there's a reason why we single him out, even when in our ziyarat. Assalamu alaikum ya ghareeb al-ghuraba. The same way Ali and Al-Akbar, he fell far from the tents. He's very ghareeb. Yes, distance plays a role in ghurba. Imam al-Rida, why are you all the way out somewhere else while all the other Imams are either buried in Medina or in Iraq? And I want to say, oh Imam Rida, we have wept for your grandfather, Imam Hussein, for 2 months. And now we have this honor as we slowly leave the month of Safar to cry for your musibah. What an honor. It's narrated that when Ma'mun forced the Imam to migrate from Medina to Khurasan, just like his father Imam Hussein had to migrate, Imam Rida, he does exactly what Imam Hussein does. Imam Hussein, in the report said, he went to the grave of his grandfather, the Holy Prophet. He would speak to him, go out, go back in again. Several times we have reports of the Imam doing that. Imam al-Rida, it says he did the same thing. It says he went to the grave of his grandfather several times and he wept. And he also told his family to come around him and weep for him as he was leaving. What are you doing, Imam Rida? What are you trying to say? He's trying to say, this is a journey I will not return from. If I'm going and I'm going to be the successor to Ma'mun, as he calls it, don't fall for it. No, this is a journey I will not return from. And he doesn't take anyone from his family members with him. He goes alone. Yes, Ghareebul Ghuraba for a reason. And so they write that when the time came for Imam al-Rida to leave this dunya, he was summoned by Ma'mun, the one who had his own brother's head in front of him. Ma'mun killed his own brother for Khilafah. So he's not going to have mercy on Imam al-Rida. It says that Imam al-Rida, as he is summoned to go to Ma'mun, he tells his companion Aba Salt, "Oh Aba Salt, wait for me to return from Ma'mun. If I return with my cloak over my head, don't speak to me, for I have been poisoned." So Aba Salt says, the Imam went and I sat there looking at the door, hoping, praying, I hope the Imam doesn't come back with the cloak over his head. And so after some time passes, all of a sudden he says, I saw the door open, and lo and behold, the cloak was drawn over the head of the Madlum Imam, and he couldn't walk properly. He would keep having to sit and sometimes maybe fall. Some accounts say Abba Salt says he fell 50 times before he made it back. Abba Salt, my liver is burning. What did this poison do to the body of Imam al-Rida? It says after some time, the Imam puts aside the rug in his home, exposing the sand under it. And what he does is he sticks his abdomen to this cold sand, probably to cool off the fire that's burning within him. It says as he did this, he was yatamalmalu tamalmul as-salim, like a snake that's been injured. It's twisting and turning in pain. Imam al-Rida is twisting and turning in pain. As all of this is happening, it says that he kept looking at the door as if he's waiting for someone, and eventually It says Imam al-Jawad enters upon his father. A young Imam Jawad puts his father's head in his lap as the soul of the Imam is departing. But la yawm ka yawmika ya Aba Abdullah. Imam al-Rada, you stuck your body to the cool sand. You know where I'm going, brothers and sisters, with this. You had Imam Jawad next to you, but Hussein laid on the hot sand for a while. No one is ready to kill Imam Hussein. He's suffering though. Relieve him. No, let him die on his own. That's why they say that Imam Sajjad said, Ana ibnu man qutila sabra. I'm the one who suffered to death. They didn't just relieve Imam Hussein to the point that Lady Zainab has to do something about it. Ama fiikum Muslim. There's not a Muslim amongst you. And this is where Umar ibn Sa'd says, Inzilu ilayh wa arihuh. Descend upon Hussein and relieve him. As the Imam looks on to the tents, is anyone going to come to take his head in his lap? Oh Sajjad, my last son who's alive. Oh, how I wish you were next to me in these final moments of mine. No, it's not going to happen. One of the enemies, they say, he says, I saw the lips of Hussein moving in those final moments. I came close. I listened. He's saying, I'm thirsty. I'm thirsty. They said that monster poured water around them. You won't drink from this until you go to the hellfire. Abu Abdullah, they say his vision keeps going black. With every exhale, blood is leaving the body. He feels as his eyes are closed. He feels a heaviness on his chest. Who is sitting in this lofty position? This chest that Rasulullah would kiss. This chest that Rasulullah would hug. Who are you? وَالشِّمْرُ جَالِسٌ عَلَى صَدْرِهِ. Shimr on the chest of Hussein. I won't say too much, brothers and sisters. All I will say is this. Hussein, no one's lap will be where your head lies. Your head will be on the tips of the spears. I will not say anymore. All I will say is this, that Lady Zainab hears chanting and cheering and clapping. What's going on? فَرُفِعَ عَلَى الْقَنَاةِ رَأْسُ الْحُسَيْنِ. Atop the spears goes the head of Hussein. Before the eyes of Zainab. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. ماتم حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين يا حسين
Ya Hussein, 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 Ya
در غربت تک و تنها برس به دادم امیده دل تنگم بیا جوادم امیده دل تنگ بیا جواد در غربت تک و تنها برس به دادم امیده دل تنگم بیا جوادم امیده دل تنگم در غربت جواد تک و تنها برس به دادم امیده دل تنگم جوادم دل تنگ پاره پاره قلبم به خدا دلم از این صحن و سرا رسانده پیغام مرا تا مدینه و کرب و بلا. پاره پاره قلبم به خدا، دلم از این صحن و سرا رسیده پیغام مرا تا مدینه و کرب و بلا. رسیده جانم به سرم، بیادمی را ببرم، امید زهرا پسرم، میشوین و هم نور خدا. می آیی که ببینی ز پا فتادم امیده، دل تنگم بیا جوادم امیده، دل تنگم بیا جوادم. در غربت تک و تنها برس به دادم امیده، تنگم بیا جواد امیده، دل تنگ. گفت کار من گشته تمام، ز خون دل پر شده جام، تمام هستی و ملک محو خلوت آن دو امام. رو به قبل پای پدر و به آه و زاری پسر و دست نحیفش به سر و می کند سوی قبل سلام. با این زهر رسیدم آخر به مرادم امیده، دل تنگم بیا جوادم امیده، دل تنگم بیا جوادم. در غربت تک و تنها برس به دادم امیده، دل تنگم امیده، دل یه بار دیگه. در غربت تک و تنها برس به دادم امیده، دل تنگ امیده. یاد مادر عالم کن برای من زمزم کن، در دم آخر ببرم ذکر روزه فاطمه کن. یاد مادر عالم کن برای من زمزم کن، در دم آخر ببرم ذکر روزه فاطمه کن. قتل الحسین ای پسرم شنیدم از پدرم، شنیدم از پدرم، تو هم به بالای سرم حکایت علقه کن. با یاد کرب و علا گریه دمادم امیده، دل تنگم بیا جوادم امیده، دل تنگم بیا جوادم. در غربت تک و تنها امیده، دل تنگم امیده، دل تنگم بیا جواد.
पैकां बरस रहे हैं ताबूत पर हसन के, पैकां बरस रहे हैं ताबूत पर हसन के, उम्मत मिटा रही है आसार पंजतन के, पैकां बरस रहे हैं ताबूत पर हसन के कैकां बरस रहे हैं। ताबूत पर हसन के ज़ैनब पुकारी भाई, दिल डूबता है मेरा। ज़ैनब पुकारी भाई, दिल डूबता है मेरा। उगलो ना दिल के टुकड़े, सदक़े गई दहन के। उम्मत मिटा रही है आसार पंजतन के। पैकां बरस रहे हैं ताबूत पर हसन के। ताबूत से लिपट कर कासिम पुकारे बाबा। ताबूत से लिपट कर कासिम पुकारे बाबा। आंसू अखी के देखो नौहे सुनो बहन के। उम्मत मिटा रही है आसार पंजतन के। पैकां बरस रहे हैं ताबूत पर के। ज़ैनब है बाल खोले, उम्मत है तीर तोले। ज़ैनब है बाल खोले, उम्मत है तीर तोले। पूछो ना शाम की जब ये हाल है वतन के। उम्मत मिटा रही है आसार पंजतन के। पैकां बरस रहे हैं ताबूत पर। बाबा के दिल के टुकड़े तूने गिने 72। बाबा के दिल के टुकड़े तूने गिने 72। टुकड़े हजार होंगे कासिम तेरे बदन के। उम्मत मिटा रही है आसार पंजतन के। पैकां बरस रहे हैं ताबूत पर। ज़हरा जहाँ गिरी थी लाशा वहाँ न जाए। ज़हरा जहाँ गिरी थी लाशा वहाँ न जाए। फिर जख्म खुल न जाए ज़ेरे कफन हसन के। उम्मत मिटा रही है आसार पंजतन के। पैकां बरस रहे हैं ताबूत पर हसन के। शबीर तन पर तो है हसन के गोछिद गया है सारा। तन पर तो है हसन के गोछिद गया है सारा। मोहताज ही रहेंगे। शब्बीर तो कफन के उम्मत मिटा रही है, आसार पंजतन के पैकां बरस रहे हैं। ताबूत पर हसन के उम्मत मिटा रही है, आसार पंजतन के पैकां बरस रहे हैं। ताबूत पर हसन के या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन या हुसैन। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला
السلام عليك يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام على الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام على 9 المعصومين من ولد الحسين. السلام عليك يا غريب الغرباء ومعين الضعفاء والفقراء. السلطان أبا الحسن أيها الرضا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا مولانا يا صاحب الزمان. الأمان الأمان من فتن الزمان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Inshallah, we'll have Dua Kamil right after this, but before you all leave, there's a special request for Surah Fatiha for Javed Raza, son of Wazir Ali Vakil. So inshallah, please recite Surah Fatiha ma'as salawat.
Oh, no. That's fine. I'll give him my phone. Don't worry about it. You got it? Thanks, man. Let this Sheikh go out.
I would just start, to be honest. Leave it here.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. إلهي قلبي محجوب ونفسي معيوب وعقلي مغلوب وهوائي غالي وطاعتي قليل ومعصيتي كثير ولساني مقر بالذنوب. فكيف حيلتي يا ستار العيوب ويا علام الغيوب ويا كاشف الكروب. يغفر ذنوبي كلها بحرمة محمد وآل محمد. يا غفار يا غفار يا غفار برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي ظهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء. يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهدك العصام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعام. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغطر الرجاء. اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء. اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسي وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من غربك وأن توسعني شكرك وأن تلهمني ذكرك. اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأحوال متواضعا. اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجة وعظم فيما عندك رغبته. اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وظهر أمرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك. اللهم لا أجد لذنوبي غافرا ولا لقبائحي ساترا ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن مبدلا غيرك. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك. ظلمت نفسي وتجرأت بجهلي وسكرت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي. اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترته وكم من فادح من البلاء أقلته وكم من عثار وغيته وكم من مكروه دفعته وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته. اللهم عظم بلائي وأفرط بي سوء حالي فقصرت بي أعمالي وقعدت بي أغلالي وحبسني عن نفعي بعد آمالي وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بجنايتها ومطالي. يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك ألا يحجب عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي ولا تفضحني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري ولا تعاجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملته في خلواتي من سوء فعلي وإساءتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي. وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور عطوفا. إلهي وربي من لي غيرك. إلهي وربي من لي غيرك أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري. إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي فغرني بما هو وأسعده على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعض حدودك وخالفت بعض أوامرك فلك الحجة علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك وألزمني حكمك وبلاك. فقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا معترفا لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزعا نتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة من رحمتي. اللهم فاقبل عذري وارحم شدة ضري وفكني من شد وساقي. يا رب ارحم ضعف بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عزمي. يا من بدأ خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي هب لي لابتداء كرمك وسالف برك بي يا إلهي وسيدي وربي. أتراك معذبي بذلك بعد توحيدك وبعد من طوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لساني من ذكرك واعتقده ضميري من حبي وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتي. هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تطيع من ربيته أو تبعد من أدنيته أو تشرد من آويته أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدا وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقا وبشكرك مادحا وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققا وعلى ضمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعا وعلى جوارح سعات إلى أوطان تعبدك طائعا وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنا ما هكذا الظن بك ولا أخبرنا بفضلك عنك يا كريم يا رب. وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها، على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه، قليل مكره يسير بقاؤه، قصير مدته، فكيف احتمالي لبلاء الآخرة وجليل وقوع المكاره فيها، وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله، لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك، وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض. يا سيدي فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحقير المسكين المستكين. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي، لأي الأمور إليك أشكو ولما منها أضج وأبكي، لأليم العذاب وشدتي أم لطول البلاء ومدتي، فلئن صيرتني في العقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك، فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي. صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك، وهبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك، أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك. فبعزتك يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناطقا لأضجن إليك بين أهلها ضجيج الآمنين، ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين، ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاقدين، ولأنادينك أين كنت يا ولي المؤمنين، يا غاية آمال العارفين، يا غياث المستغيثين، يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين، ويا إله العالمين. أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفتي وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيتي وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته، وهو يضج إليك ضجيج مؤمن لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك. يا مولاي فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك، أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك، أم كيف يحرقه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه، أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه، أم كيف يتغلغل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه، أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رب، أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها. هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك، فباليقين يغطوا لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاحدين وقضيت به من إخلاد معاندين، لجعلت النار كلها بردا وسلاما وما كان لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما، لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملاها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين، وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين، وأن تجل ثناؤك قلت مبتدئا وتطولت بالإنعام متكرما، أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون. إلهي وسيدي فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي ختمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها، أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته، وكل ذنب أذنبته، وكل قبيح أسررته، وكل جهل عملته كتمته أو أعلنته، أخفيته أو أظهرته، وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظ ما يكون مني، وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي، فكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم، وبرحمتك أخفيتا وبفضلك سترتا، وأن توفر حظي من كل خير تنزلوه، أو إحسان تفضلوه، أو بر تنشروه، أو رزق تبسطوه، أو ذنب تغفروه، أو خطأ تستروه. يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك ربي، يا من بيده ناصيتي، يا عليما بضري ومسكنتي، يا خبيرا بفقري وفاقتي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، أسألك بحقك وقدسك وأعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورا، وبخدمتك موصولا، وأعمالي عندك مقبولا، حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا، وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا. يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي، يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، يا ربي يا ربي يا رب، قوي على خدمتك جوارحي، واشدد على العزيمة جوانحي، وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك، حتى أسرح إليك في ميادين السابقين، وأسرع إليك في المبادرين، وأشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين، وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين، فأخافك مخافة الموقنين، واجتمعا في جوارك مع المؤمنين. اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فارده، ومن كادني فكيد، واجعل لي من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك، وأقربهم منزلة منك، وأخصهم زلفة لديك، فإنه لا ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك، وجد لي بجودك، واعطف علي بمجدك، واحفظني برحمتك، واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا، وقلبي بحبك متيما، ومن علي بحسن إجابتي، وأقني عثرتي واغفر زلتي، فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك، وأمرتهم بدعائك، وضمنت لهم الإجابة، فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي، وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي، فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي، وبلغني مناي، ولا تغفى من فضلك رجائي، فاكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي، يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء، فإنك فعال لما تشاء، يا من اسمه دواء، وذكره شفاء، وطاعته غنى، ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء، وسلاحه البكاء، يا سابغ النعم، يا دافع النقام، يا نور المستوحشين في الظلام، يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بما أنت أهله وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا. الفاتحة قبلها صلوات الله.